We started in like '77 in the garage in the San Fernando Valley. Got a record deal with A&M.
We were if you will, a first, can we call ourselves first generation punk rock? Something like that.
Pretty
Early punk rock band. As Stan was saying, signed to A&M Records. We were on A&M Records for a couple of years. After we got bunked from A&M Records, we kind of languished for a while. We put out a record with Gem.
right.
Right, that was the Stukas Over Disneyland record. And then in the mid to late 80s, I guess we're looking at 87 now, between 87 and 88, signed by
Enigma.
And it was through, was it Curtis at Enigma? How did we come?
I think it was Curtis Beck. Somebody called me about this movie, and he pitched me on the idea of doing a song. There's a movie floating around called Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So didn't have much information on it. We never even saw a clip or anything. We just did the song from the title.
The idea for the recording came from, the inspiration for production-wise was from a few sources. The lick itself, of course, is a classic. It's taken from a Julius, what's his name? Julius Fusick, classical piece called Entrance of the Gladiators, which is the standard chromatic Clowns lick, the na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na circus lick. So for me personally, what helped give me inspiration for writing the tune was Goodbye Cruel World by James Darren. Remember that song, Steve?
I don't, no.
Okay, how about Tears of a Clown?
I know Tears of a Clown.
Okay, there you go. And that one too, Smokey Robinson. And we got very lucky, if you remember, in the studio, because I had this kind of soundscaping idea for the intro that involved sinister laughing. And as fate would have it, we had an old
keyboard, right?
Emulator device that actually had laughter on it that we got to VSO down low.
What was that, Ron Hitchcock? Through that montage?
Hitchcock was the engineer for it, yeah. We were very, very confident from the moment the song was written, and we went in to demo it, we mastered it. I mean, the demo, you know,
that was the record.
We just made the record. And we were so happy with the sound of it that we pretty much knew we had the gig, you know. We hadn't, the idea was, of course, was for us to just pitch the idea and the song to the Kyoto brothers. But it was coming together so well that, at least I was, and I think you were too, we were pretty confident that we were going to get the gig. So when it was done, you were pitch man.
Yeah.
With the finished product.
I went in there with a pig nose and a tiny guitar strapped on my pig nose strapped around my neck and a guitar, and played that riff real sloppily, but just sold them on it. Hey, this is it. This is a done deal. Here's your song. Yeah. You want this.
And they dug it. And the Kyotos were so happy with it that they gave me an opportunity to do the incidental music for it. So they gave me a couple of scenes. I completely novice, still don't know what I'm doing, but then really didn't know what I was doing with incidental music.
Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you.
And I, on a keyboard, put together some music for two scenes, and one of the scenes was with Dennis Dragon from the Surf Punks. Went over to Dennis Dragon's house, and we had a blast. And I got to be honest with you, at least the one scene that we did together, I thought was quite good. It was funny, but the producer turned it down. The Kyotos loved it. The producer didn't like it, and I think the producer obviously had the right call, made the right call.
With John?
He went with John Massari. If I remember correctly, the criticism that Dennis Dragon and I got was the music's too comedic for the movie. We're thinking, it's called Killer Klowns from Outer Space. What the heck, right? But in hindsight, he was right. They went with John Massari, who put really good, stock kind of dark horror movie soundscaping to the scenes, which offset the goofiness of what's going on in that movie.
Shit, what is that? Wow, look at that.
Now, what was also interesting about that was that it was part of, we had already been signed to Enigma, if you remember. Once we got the Killer Klowns deal, they wanted to tie that into an EP release. So instead of it being a song on our next album, we put out an EP called Killer Klowns from Outer Space, where the song was showcased and we had other tunes with it. It's not a punk rock record. Would you consider that a punk rock record?
Nah,
Killer Klowns from Outer Space?
not at all.
It's a Dickies record. It's just a weird Dickies record.
Yeah.
So a lot of Dickies fans at the time, I remember Keith Morris from
weren't
Circle Jerks,
they
right?
weren't backing it.
He comes up to me at one of our gigs and says, "So I heard the new song, the new record, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I don't like it." And this is very, very frank and direct of him, and I didn't know what to say to him other than, well, it's movie music, It's ironically enough, it garnered us a lot of fans. We, at the time, in the moment, we kind of looked at it as this weird sort of, commercial venture. Okay, we did this movie music, and Dickies fans react to it kind of like, gee, that's different. And then within a year or so of the films released, especially, I don't know how many people I've talked to who are now hardcore Dickie fans, who Killer Klowns was their introduction to the band. So we helped the movie, and the movie helped us.
True.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of exposure.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
We still play the song. We still do it in the set. We don't tour with it per se, and it's
either an opener or forget about it.
exactly. It's a judgment call. Like, there are certain gigs that it seems to feel good for. So it's like, okay, are you guys up for it? Let's open with Killer Klowns. We just did our 40th anniversary a few weeks ago at the Whiskey A Go Go, 40th anniversary of the band. And of course, we had to put it in the set. We didn't want to open with it, so we opened our encore with it. But it had to be there. And of course, we've been waiting by the phone for Killer Klowns 2 now for, let's see, how long has it been? 80, 90, 30 years?
They've been talking about it for 30 years.
Phone
too.
isn't ringing, I already had the song written. I already know what Killer Klowns 2 should sound like.
They should make it.
What we'll basically do, what I think would be great, is to just kind of do the same song and lyrics, only put the word 2 in it. Killer Klowns 2 from outer space.
Do you think it's over?
Yeah, sure.